Unawakened Radio presents The Center with your DC Radical One.
Greetings, friends, family, allies, and enemies. I'm your host, DC Radical One. You have entered the center. Shout out to our Cindy Ashby. We're going to get straight to the point. As of 2 o'clock this morning, the United States of Israel is at war with Iran. Brother, you got ripped off. If you could let me know if you can hear me. Also, let me know if you can hear the music. I can't hear it. All right, here we go. And thank you, brother, for letting the people know. I mean, you can let as many of them know that are related to this situation. Here's the reality of the situation. Last week, for those who were paying attention, first of all, hold up. Let me greet the people that's in the chat. My bad. Thank you, brother. BB4 Assistant RJ, BB4 brother, you got ripped off. Last week I told y'all that I would be talking about the war this week. Not that I'm a prophet or a soothsayer or nothing like that. Didn't take any of that. Didn't take a rocket scientist, didn't take anything. Just had to read the tea leaves and know what was going to take place. So, like I said last week, I put up the thumbnail and said I was going to talk about the war. The timing was perfect. 2 o'clock this morning, the United States of Israel, in an unprovoked attacked the government of Iran, and the government of Iran has responded by attacking U.S. bases in Iran. Assistant RJ said, there you go. So y'all know I'm not capping. In the middle of Ramadan, exactly. I told the people on Threads, when the United States attacked in the holy month of Ramadan, come back and watch the video that I posted. Put that on Threads. I'm going to say this first to the Muslims. I am not a Muslim, but I have studied Islam. I am familiar with the Quran and somewhat familiar with the Sunnah. And I'm familiar with the spirit of Islam. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if he was here, would be condemning these attacks by the Zionist regime. Plain and simple. He would also be rallying the Muslims to the side of the Iranian nation because they are Muslim. If you're Muslim, you can either side with infidels or side with Muslims. That's all I'm saying. I'm not Muslim. I'm just putting it out there. You all have had years to make a decision about Israel. Your governments have done nothing to help their brothers, even though in Islam, the Prophet Muhammad says that a Muslim wants for his brother what he wants for himself. There's no time like the present for you to get started practicing your deen as it's supposed to be practiced. That's my message to the Muslims. Make of it what you will. My message to the Christians. Well, I'm going to get my message to the Christians shortly. Let me get myself together. This message comes from the great reformer, Martin Luther, from his treatise on the Jews and their lies. We're not going to get all into it. I just want to get this part. He says, I had made up my mind to write no more either about the Jews or against them. But since I learned that those miserable and accursed people do not cease to lure themselves even to us, that is, the Christians, I have published this little book, so that I might be found among those who oppose such poisonous activities of the Jews and who warn the Christians to be on their guard against them. I would not have believed that a Christian could be duped by the Jews into taking their exile and wretchedness upon himself. However, the devil is the god of this world, and wherever God's word is absent, he has an easy task to only with the weak, but also with the, wait a minute, I done lost me. With the strong. He said, all right, let me read that again. He says, however, the devil is a god of this world, and wherever God's word is absent, he has an easy task, not only with the weak, but also with the strong. May God help us. Amen. That is from Martin Luther, the great reformer. If you're a Protestant, Martin Luther is the reason you're a Protestant. Martin Luther says he wrote a book to guard the Christians against the Jews. The Prophet Muhammad's number one opposer in his infancy were the Jews. At this moment, one of the last remaining Islamic regimes, kingdoms, nations, is being attacked by a nation that claims that they're a nation of Jews. I'm going to say this message to Black people. Dr. Tony Martin wrote a book called The Jewish Onslaught. The Nation of Islam, they told us, they wrote multiple books. The secret relationship between Blacks and Jews. They tell us about the slave trade. They tell us about the Lancanos and the Moranos. They tell us about how our institutions and industries that we built were undermined by Jewish interests. We also have documentation, the secret relationship between Black leaders and small hats. Talked about how Jewish finance organizations oppose Black liberation. Right? Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad warned us about the Jews and their attacks on Black people. Dr. Leonard Jeffries warned us as he was wearing a bulletproof vest about Black interests being attacked by the Jews. But you're going to say, DC, why are you telling us all this? Because the Great War is upon us. Not this war between Iran and the United States of Israel. That's only one battle in the war. The Great War started in 2019. Many of you are already victims of that war because you took an untested medical injection. The Muslims, the Christians, the Africans, even the Hispanics, the Asians, all have come under attack over hundreds of years by one group of people. And that group of people is currently waging war against everyone. That's what's taking place. Now, let me get to this battle and this war. Before they straight black brother Elijah. That intro was not planned. That's not what I was going to plan to talk about. I was just going to tell you about this war. But I realized that we don't know what's going on. I had a brother yesterday on Instagram basically asked me, why are you obsessed with these people? He wants me to talk about something black. Black people are being exterminated. I've been telling you black people have been exterminated. If you go through my channel, I tell you, black birth rate is down. We already know about mass incarceration, rampant homosexuality, child sexual abuse, drug abuse, homelessness, the breakup of the family, feminism, hip hop, etc., etc., etc. What do you want me to talk about? You have not addressed any of these issues. When I look and say, oh, who's behind the decline of hip hop? Oh, okay. Who's behind the push of feminism in the black community? Oh, okay. Who's behind the attacks, medical attacks on black people? Oh, okay. Who's behind gentrification? Oh, okay. Who's behind the destruction of the black economy? Oh, okay. Who's going to make sure that you don't get reparations until the dollar falls? Oh, okay. If you don't know that these are all the same people and you think it's white supremacy, quote unquote, you're on the wrong battlefield. You're on yesterday's battlefield. You have no idea what's going on. It's already too late. You're finished. Okay, we're going to have straight talk today. And I'm going to probably come back Monday during the day, and we're going to have straight talk on Monday and probably Wednesday and maybe Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. I'm not even sure right now. Because the battlefield is everywhere. The battlefield is in your refrigerator. The battlefield is in your veins. The battlefield is in your mind. The battlefield is at your job. The battlefield is in your house. This is a global war to the end. Plain and simple, it is part of Jewish belief that the Messiah will destroy 2/3 of the people on the earth and enslave the other third, where each Jewish person gets 2,800 slaves. I've seen them talk about it right on video. No one's hiding, no one's pretending. This is where we are. And this ongoing war is a part of it, of the creation of the Greater Israel Project, where they will extend from what is now Israel through what is now in the Middle East to the doorsteps of Russia through the Ukraine, which will be their global seat of power, of dominion of the entire world. This is where we're at. I'm not here for no games. I'm here to give you straight talk. They may ban this. I'm sure they're going to demonetize it. I don't even think I said it to be monetized, so we ain't got to worry about it. But here's the reality of the situation. It's the Goy versus the Zelle. And the Zelle is winning. What you want me to say? Black people not even on the battlefield. We don't know what's going on. We don't have a clue. Brother, you got ripped off said, let me show you. Said, I went to a so-called African liberation celebration yesterday, and it was nothing but, well, there you go. That's where black people are on the battlefield. We can thank Barack Hussein Obama for that. Who was Barack Hussein Obama working for? You're going to say, what Obama got to do with, well, who did he give the money to when the financial crashed? Did he give the money to the people who were mostly black people? Did he give them the money to save their homes? No. He gave them to the bankers. Who were the bankers? All right. So let's get into this article now that I'm finished with that intro. And as most of you know, and I said it before, Sister Najee, that those pizza parties had a whole new different meaning in light of what we talked about 10 years ago. I didn't even think about it. But let's get into this article, because y'all gonna send me down a rabbit hole for something else. Rip straight from the headlines. Let me go back here. U.S. Israel launched attack on Iran as Trump announces major combat operations. First of all, let me say this. Under the law, this is actually illegal. The United States government, via the Congress, has not declared war, but the United States is engaged in a war. It says the United States and Israel launched a massive coordinated military offensive targeting Iran known as Operation Epic Fury. President Donald Trump had warned of possible U.S. intervention. A U.S. assault because of so-called deadly anti-regime protests, which was nothing but Mossad. So basically, the U.S. and Israel, okay, that's the wrong one, my bad. The U.S. and Israel set up fake protests as a pretense to attempt to destroy Iran. Now, for those of you all who've been watching the show for a while, you know that I gave the breakdown of how this war would go last year. After I gave that breakdown, what happened? Israel gave up, called the U.S., they called Iran to tell them to stop destroying Israel. This time, Israel makes sure that the U.S. is fully on board with it. Now, I'm going to be completely honest. There's absolutely no way that Iran can defeat Israel and the United States. So all of this is going to come down to one thing. Well, two things, my bad. Number one, will China fully back Iran? That's number one. Number two, will Pakistan back Iran? Number three, will North Korea back Iran? And number four, will Russia fully back Iran? Now, here's the problem that the world faces. If all of these countries back Iran, it's liable to lead to World War III. Here's the other problem. If all these countries don't back Iran, it's liable to lead to World War III. See how that works? You're like, well, DC, how can this lead to World War III? All right, here we go. There's something called the Samson option. The Samson option is that Israel will attack everyone if they're on the verge of being defeated. Thus, if Iran actually defeats Israel, which if it was a one-on-one battle they could, then Israel would then drop nuclear bombs on Iran and Russia and China, in which case, of course, Russia and China would retaliate and there would be no Middle East left, so it would be nothing to argue about. Of course, then the United States would then retaliate, and then Russia would obliterate the United States, because Russia's already said our stuff is going to go off if they don't hear from us. So we're going to be the winner, dead or alive. You can go back and look at my old shows. I've covered all this before. So if Israel loses, we have World War III. You say, well, what if Israel wins? Well, if Israel wins, I just told you they plan on killing 2/3 of the people. You see how this works? Brother at Arms says, hello, brother. I've been working a lot. I'm glad to catch a line. All right, thank you, brother. I'm glad you're here. So this is where we are. The trap has been laid. For those of my Star Wars nerds, this is the equivalent of the Clone Wars trap on the Jedi. Right. So the Jedi had a chance to defeat the Sith, but once the Clone Wars began, the trap was sprung. So you're going to ask me, how do we avoid this war? There's only one way. America has to be wrestled from the iron grip of the Zionists. That is the only way to avoid, I believe, World War, the total destruction of humanity. Now, I'm going to say this. I hope I'm wrong. But it ain't looking good, because I told y'all that I would be here talking about the war. And at the time, the war hadn't started. But while I decided to take a nap, they fired off. Right? So the chances of me being right is at least 50-50. Give me that. But here's what I'm going to do. Just to remind people of why I call this place the United States of Israel, I'm going to play this video just as a reminder of the current state of our government. All right, so y'all give me a second and check this out.
Why does the U.S. support Israel so staunchly? Shared values? A military outpost in the Middle East? Or an unending apology for Holocaust? Any of them or all of them would be the answer. Yet, it is noteworthy that the U.S. politicians, whether today or in the past, whether they be Republican or Democrat, vehemently pledge support to any Israeli action. This support goes much beyond alliance, but becomes the embracement of Israel's sick-minded Zionism.
You don't have to be a Jew to be a Zionist, and I'm a Zionist.
And we're going to make Israel great again, and we're going to make America great again. We're going to make them both great again, greater than ever before.
As long as I'm a United States Senator, I will do everything in my power to ensure broad and bipartisan support for Israel's security.
Less than a month left for the U.S. elections, the same question keeps minds occupied. Is the U.S. politics strangled by pro-Israeli lobbies? Looking at the consequences of their activities, such as unseating certain politicians or ensuring further monetary aid from the government, the answer seems to be yes.
Good morning, AIPAC.
AIPAC, American-Israeli Public Affairs Committee, which is the biggest pro-Israeli group but ironically ineligible to make any donations, has already officially spent more than $100 million in the electoral races via guiding individuals or registered lobby groups. Existing in the U.S. for almost half-century, AIPAC basically pushes members of Congress, presidents, and other elected officials to pass policies that unconditionally support Israel. Up to today, the staunchest supporters of Israel within U.S. politics have received enormous donations from AIPAC, including the U.S. President Joe Biden, the now bribery-convicted Robert Menendez, Hillary Clinton, John McCain, Ted Cruz, and so on. But AIPAC is not only this. Let's give an ear to American-Palestinian journalist and author Ramzi Baroud, who believes AIPAC is more than a simple lobby and has bypassed U.S. policy-making mechanisms entirely.
What is happening between Israel and the United States is not exactly lobbying in that sense. In fact, the largest, supposedly the most powerful lobby groups of them all, AIPAC, is not even registered as a foreign lobby group, as if you are part of the domestic politics of America. And this is, I think, is the greatest achievement of the so-called Israel lobby. is not, number one, their ability to behave in a way that made Israel a domestic issue in American politics.
Furthermore, Barad argues that most of American policymakers themselves were acting like a pro-Israel lobbyist.
The neoconservatives, which is the powerful ruling elite that had a great sway of power over American foreign policy during the George Bush administration, they are essentially all pro-Israel lobbyists. Many of them had dual citizenships. Many of them worked for Israeli organizations, Israeli companies, played the roles of advisors within the Israeli government, close to Benjamin Netanyahu and others. And they were yet the ones presented to the American public through American media, Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, and all the rest. They presented themselves as, good old Americans.
Obviously, the most striking example was Secretary of State Antony Blinken, who declared his support for Israel as a Jew.
I come before you not only as the United States Secretary of State, but also as a Jew.
All right, brothers and sisters. I think now we have an understanding. Before they do, Brother Kevin, we have an understanding of why America is real. By the way, let me get my music together because I got some background noise. All right, now let's get to the article, and then I got another video for you all that'll show what's going on. It says President Donald Trump confirmed Saturday that the U.S. is carrying out major combat operations in Iran. That video posted to Truth Social. Trump said the objective is to defend Americans by eliminating imminent threats from the Iranian regime. Describing it as a as a vicious group of very hard, terrible people. In his message from Earth generations, Trump urged the people of Iran states military attack against Iran is named Operation Epic Fury. Israel was coordinated the daytime morning blitz with the U.S. announced military that Israel is targeting Iranian leadership, while the U.S. is targeting military installations and ballistic missile sites that pose an imminent threat. Let me stop right here. Here's the reality of the situation. I told you all that Martin Luther wrote a book called, oh, you said I'm breaking up? Okay. Give me a second, brother. My apologies. Give me a second. Oh, I didn't want to do that. All right. Tell me, is that better? And that you can still hear me. So, when the brother's giving me the word. Notice what Trump says. He says that there are threats to America. I told you the book was called The Jews and Their Lies. There is no threat from Iran from a military standpoint to America, right? If I had thought about it, I would have brought up a map, but let's just put it this way. The Iranian missile technology is a ballistic missile technology. It is not an intercontinental ballistic technology. DC, what are you saying? This is what I'm saying. If you had a football field, right? And if you put the United States at one end of the football field outside of the end zone, and you put Iran at the other side of the field, all the way down past 100 yards, right? And the quarterback was Iran. and you say throw the ball as far as you can. Let's say it's Josh Allen, right? The strongest arm quarterback. And he throws this 80 yards. Well, guess what? The U.S. is 120 yards away. It doesn't matter. He can never complete that pass because the farthest he can throw is 80 yards. It's the same principle. The United States doesn't face a threat because Iran does not have the capability to attack the United States with their missile technology, and that was done intentionally. They have the ability, the capacity, as far as the know-how to do it, but they've never done it, so they can avoid even being accused of being a threat to the United States. But yet the book is called The Jews and Their Lies. Trump is not saying what he believes. He's not that stupid. He's saying what he's been told to say by Netanyahu and others. Now you're gonna say, well, DC, why would he do that? All right, we're gonna now go back into the Epstein files. Mr. Trump was sued, as I talked about again on a previous show. For those who haven't watched the previous shows, there's a lot of information that I'm just gonna refer to stuff because I don't have that much time to go back and with the old stuff. He was sued because he was accused of violating a young woman when she was underage. And this information is in fact known by, I believe, the US government, and I believe they're hiding this, and it's definitely known by Israel because Jeffrey Epstein was a Mossad asset. We covered this before. I believe that they have the video of this act, and I believe the president of the United States is acting the way he is acting because he knows they have the video of him violating at least one young woman. Thus, he will do whatever they tell him. But in reality, his only honorable thing he could have done was told the truth, abdicated, resigned, after dropping nukes on Israel. That was his only way. See, if he dropped the nukes on Israel first, they probably would have assassinated him, then he wouldn't have to worry about it. No, I'm saying the young woman, yeah, okay, I see what you're saying. Well, yeah, he violated a child. That's a reality situation. Now, again, this operation didn't start with Mr. Trump. As far as current sitting presidents, this operation started, as far as I know, that I can trace back to, with Mr. Clinton. Monica Lewinsky, listen to the name, Monica Lewinsky was a honey trap. It is what it is. And one thing we already knew about Clinton is he was y'all know how he wrote. He was accused of all types of improprieties with dozens of women before he ever became president. This is why he was running for the presidency. I'm old enough to remember. And I was just like, as much as I hated at the time the Bushes and the Republicans, I was shocked by all these allegations. Now it's just like, yeah, this is who he is, right? And now, this is what I've realized. Now, I could be wrong, but this is what I have surmised, right? Trump, well, the Israelis knew about Trump's shenanigans because they got the video. When Trump I would not be surprised if people close to Trump were connected with the Israelis, and they were the ones that advised him to run. Then the media storm kicked in, where they covered everything he said and everything he did, putting him into the public consciousness before he decided to run. In which case, then when he decided to run as a Republican, even though he had been a Democrat, it set them up where they had two people that they could control, whether it was Hillary or Trump. Trump wins, but he doesn't do exactly what they wanted him to do the first time. So then they put Biden in, and then they talk to Trump and say, this time get it right, and here we are. Right? So in reality, they've been working on putting Trump into this position so that they could do what they want to do for 12 years now, maybe more. But at the time, I didn't see it that way. I didn't understand it because I didn't have the full understanding of, obviously, the Epstein operation. I was familiar with the Pizzagate situation, but I was not familiar with the Epstein situation at that time. Even though he had been 2009, I think he got arrested, but he wasn't on my radar, especially not 2009 because I was in a different place mentally, right? So that's what has happened. The U.S. and Israel have attacked Iran. Iran has responded. So I'm going to play this clip so that you all can see what's going on, and then I'm going to try to bring up a live feed and see what's going on literally as we speak. So we're going to see what's going on.
Far-reaching, already regional war, where the justifications offered in that 8-minute speech and then talking to reporters afterwards have ranged from everything to the nuclear program, the missiles, the revolution itself, the 1979, embassy kidnapping of Americans in the embassy, the long litany of things that he listed out there to, hey, we just want human rights and freedom for the Iranian people. And we have a new justification, which is he's claiming that the Iranians interfered in the election. So we can throw, a little bit of like protectual election interference and be able to use that claim later on to mess with the 2026 elections here as well, which appears to be part of the plot.
Which is so,
I mean, there's so many layers of dystopia here that it's hard to wrap your head around. I do want to just set a little bit more of the context here for people who, thinking about how we got to this place. Because once again, you had Trump posturing like we're going through this diplomatic process. We had these meetings in Geneva this week. The Omanis came out and said the Iranians offered a deal that went far beyond the JCPOA, that was the Obama-era nuclear deal. They offered, these concessions that went way beyond what Obama was able to achieve, thinking that could potentially give Trump an out to say, you know what, I did so much better than Barack Obama could never. Look at me, the art of the deal, and give himself an out. But what we're hearing from Israeli officials is that, once again, this diplomacy was just a ruse, that this was planned months ago. The date was set weeks ago. And in fact, all of this was just a dodge to wait until the time of their choosing. So a war of choice. Anyone you hear out there saying preemptive strike, blah, 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 you should kindly disregard everything they have to say after this, because this is an aggressive, illegal war of choice from this president and the Israelis. And there will be massive repercussions that we cannot even imagine right now that play out for years and decades to come.
Yes, the strikes are now planned for many, many days to continue. It appears initially this morning, we're hearing from the U.S. military, there will be some rolling types of strikes, 1 to 2 days of strikes, reassessment for battle damage, 1 to 2 days of strikes. Obviously, the enemy also gets a vote, and they are having their vote right now. Do we want to go ahead and put the list of countries that Iran has bombed already after the initial strikes that happened on Tehran early 2 a.m. Our time, so middle of the day for all of them? The list, I believe, here we have it. We have a number in Bahrain. We have a number in Kuwait, Abu Dhabi, Qatar, Jordan. Their videos coming out are unbelievable already to anybody who has visited or lived in the region. The most striking is exactly the one that you can see there on the screen. That was where the Fifth Fleet actually is. Crystal, can we put the U.S. soldier reacting? I mean, these are not scenes that you really ever would want to see. The next one that we're about to show you is an American, presumably an American service member or some American who is stationed in Bahrain, and you can actually hear him react live as a Iranian suicide Shahed drone makes direct contact with a radar installation in Manama. Why don't we make that video for us? Yep, and then we can see.
Oh shit! Oh fuck! Oh shit! Oh! Oh shit! Oh fuck! Oh my god! Oh, dude, fuck me. A fucking missile actually got through. Oh, there's more. I gotta get the fuck out of here.
So you could see that was for an Iranian suicide drone. He mistook that as a missile. There's other videos actually showing the direct impact. These are scenes that anybody familiar with the battlefield in Ukraine will see. So they have an asymmetric capability already.
So, as we see, this is not going to be a one-sided affair. The belief that the United States and Israel are infallible and can just run rampant over Iran is a fallacy. The Iranians already said, and the U.S. believed them because they moved a lot of their forces out, what they believe is out of range. They already said, if you strike us, it's total war. Now, here's the thing that no one's thinking about. The Straits of Hormuz, well, people are thinking about the Straits of Hormuz. The Straits of Hormuz, and I believe I have the article up, or I believe I have the article, but I don't have it up. Here we go. The Straits of Hormuz brings in approximately 25% of the oil, seaborne oil, in the world. Iran has said that they're going to close that, which means that the price of oil is going to go up, which means the price of everything that oil, gas, gas as in gasoline, that price is going to go up around the world, which means that the price of our food and everything else that is carried by a truck is going to go up, right? In addition to that, if China, that holds a lot of U.S. currency, if they de-dollarize, that's going to push inflation up. Literally, this is not just a war physically, but it's going to also be an economic war. Iran is going to attack Israel and U.S. military bases, but the BRICS are going to attack America economically. No one has really talked about that I've seen thus far. The goal for America is regime change. The goal for Iran is survival. The goal for the Zionists is the destruction of both. It's really that simple. Now, the last show that we did, I told you all what the Babylonian Talmud says about Goyim, which is non-Jews. Goyim doesn't mean whites. Goyim doesn't mean blacks. Goyim doesn't mean Chinese. Goyim doesn't mean Hispanics, Indians, Asian, Pakistanis, whatever. Goyim means non-Jews. The goal is to destroy the Goyim or weaken them until the Jews can rule over them. This is according to the Babylonian Talmud. This is the religious book that they go by. It's a book that Netanyahu goes by, and the Rothschilds and all the rest of them. These are the facts. What we see is just a manifestation of the facts. We can go back to the Epstein files, where Epstein was working with Bill Gates. Of course, I told you all about Bill Gates and his decade of vaccines starting in 2010, where Epstein was working with him to develop the vaccines that would become the COVID jabs. We told you this a while ago. We also have documentation that I think, as I play the advertisement at the top of the hour, brother, you got Rick over remind me about the top of the hour. I think in this advertisement, I have to talk about J. Bart Clausen, what he said. And he worked at USAID with Anthony Fauci. What I'm trying to get you all to see, for those who haven't been here, because numbers are kind of high, so we might have some new people. All of this is interrelated, and we have basically been in, symbolically speaking, the war of Armageddon for the last 6 years or so. So you're going to ask me, what's the solution, right? Okay. So the president said that he's striking Iran because Iran is a threat to the U.S. Has Iran ever in its history attacked the U.S. mainland? No. Right? Iran has retaliated against U.S. assets, bases, and ships just now. But 50 years ago, Israel attacked the U.S. liberty by in the U.S. at war with Israel. That was 50 years ago. No, my bad. It was almost 60 years ago. That was 1967. Y'all can look it up. Almost 60 years ago. There is evidence that was destroyed that the Israel was behind the attacks of 9/11. The scrap metal from the attacks was shipped out and melted down. It was never investigated. Right? Why isn't America at war with Israel? There is rampant speculation that Mr. Kennedy was actually assassinated by Mossad, along with the mob, which was actually not an Italian but a Jewish organization. And we know that Jacob Rubenstein, I don't think I gotta explain who he is, aka Jack Ruby, the man who allegedly assassinated the president. Well, he was Jacob Rubenstein. What you want me to say? So there's ample evidence that the United States' number one enemy is not Iran. It might be Israel. But anyway, let me get to this article on the Straits of Hormuz so we can see what's going on. It says U.S. Israeli strike Iran. Why is the Strait of Hormuz important, and how its possible closure could hike global crude oil prices? Let's get to it. The Straits of Hormuz, a narrow water passageway in the Middle East, is back in focus. The U.S. and Israel strikes on Iran and its retaliation on Saturday have sent ripples globally, and the growing tensions in the Middle East spell trouble for crude oil prices. U.S. President Donald Trump ordered strikes against Iran following through on earlier warnings. The United States and Israel carried out military strikes on Iran, with the initial reported attack taking place close to the offices of Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Iranian media said the attacks occurred across various parts of the country. In a video shared on social media, President Donald Trump announced that the United States initiated major combat operations in Iran. Here's what they were hoping to do. They were hoping to kill Khamenei, his associates, and the leaders of the IRGC, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, They did kill some of those people, but the IRGC basically took something out of the CIA playbook, which is to have 3-layer protections where you have the leader train the next leader and that leader train the next leader, so that when you kill off one person, the next person steps into that position, the person behind him steps into the position that was vacated, and thus you keep your leadership intact. And also, they already had their strikes ready for when they were attacked. So they were prepared. Also, they have been reinforced with Chinese radar installations while they have attacked America's radar installations. Y'all clear there. So that the back and forth of that is taking place. All right, let's get back to the Straits of Hormuz. Now, Trump alleged that Iran continued its nuclear program, which is a lie. And in response, Iran, well, they're not considering. They're saying they're going to shut down the Straits of Hormuz. What do these tensions mean for global oil prices? It says, first of all, what is the Straits of Hormuz? It is a narrow maritime corridor that is situated at the entrance of the Persian Gulf, situated between Iran to the north and the United Arab Emirates and Oman to the south. The Straits of Hormuz serves as a main link between the Persian Gulf and the Indian Ocean. The Straits is roughly 100 miles in length and narrow to about 21 miles at its tightest point. Navigation lanes in each direction are only 2 miles wide. Because of its relatively shallow waters, vessels are susceptible to naval mines and the close proximity of surrounding coastlines, particularly that of Iran, exposes ships to shore-launched missiles, patrol craft, and helicopters. Why is the Straits important? The reason why the Straits of Hormuz is important is it's also strait. It carries roughly 1/4 of the global seaborne oil shipments. Fundamentally, the Straits of Hormuz is a critical artery for international energy trade, as most Persian Gulf exporters do not have alternative sea routes for shipping. Thus, they can shut down shipping from Saudi Arabia and the Arab Emirates and all that area. Now, members of OPEC, which include Saudi Arabia, Iran, the United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, and Iraq, currently rely on the Straits to ship to Asia, which means suddenly China has an interest. Qatar, one of the leading exporters of liquefied natural gas globally, also depends on the passage for nearly all of its LNG shipments. According to KPLER Kepler Limited senior crude analyst Muyu Zhu, even a one-day blockade by Iran could push oil prices to between $120 and $150 per barrel. By comparison, Brent crude, the global benchmark, has averaged $66 per barrel so far this year. So we're talking about the price of oil doubling. Any attempt by Iran to obstruct large tankers transporting oil or gas from the Middle East to key markets such as China, Europe, and the United States would disrupt supplies, push crude prices higher, and potentially unsettle the world economy. Oil prices had already climbed to a 6-month peak in February amid speculation of military actions. A Bloomberg analyst suggests that disruption in oil trade through the Straits would have significant implications on global oil markets. If the route becomes unsafe, oil tankers may well have to move with escorted convoys protected by Western naval forces. That's not going to help. It doesn't matter. Now, here's something that most people aren't thinking about. Let me say this, and then I'm going to take my break. Remember when America removed, they blockaded Venezuela to keep them from sending their oil to Russia and China. And then they removed Maduro, and then they opened the country back up. That was so that the U.S. and Israel could get oil from Venezuela, because they knew that the oil was not going to be able to come through the Straits of Hormuz. That's why that action took place then, to allow this action to take place now. Are y'all with me? If y'all with me, put a 1 in the chat. And after y'all put a 1 in the chat, I am going to run this ad, and we will be back for the second half of the show.
It's kind of like the difference between Puerto Rico and Denver. I think Puerto Rico can't borrow money to make the debt with Europe.
Now, we're going to go and talk about AIPAC. What is AIPAC? The American Israel Public Affairs Committee, AIPAC. What does AIPAC do? AIPAC is the gangster with a whole lot of money that says, I'm going to buy you and pay you money, and you're going to make decisions that I want you to make. You're going to do as I tell you, because I got my hands in your pockets. And they attached to people like Jeffrey Epstein, who take videos of the people that are supposed to be our representatives, and as they take those videos, they hold them hostage and say, vote as I tell you to vote. Do as I tell you to do.
Has anybody watched the videos of the kind of murder that they're doing to the Palestinians? Raise your hand if you've seen any of the videos. Raise them high so I can really see. All right, so then y'all will know. People who haven't seen it, it's gonna sound like I'm exaggerating. I need you all to confirm what I'm saying is true, that the ones that have seen it. I'm black. I don't even like Arabs. I'm keep it real. I mean, I have a history as an African with the Arabs. I ain't gonna lie, man. Arab or no Arab, man, what they doing, yo, it's men walking around. I ain't never seen that like that, be real. They're holding their child, full body, and the body is jet black, burnt, and it doesn't have a head. And he's like screaming and crying for his child. Who's seen the stuff that I'm talking about? Some of these things. They have children walking around with their face, half this part of their face is just hanging like to here. It's like, I can't describe it. It's like the face is off. And it's like one half of their face is there and the other half of their face not there. And the child is sitting there trying to, they can't scream because they don't have outlets. You see burnt children, like they go in and burn them, and you go and they're showing the people there's just nothing but, you can tell us, you almost think it was like an animal, but you can see the features of a child. The kind of genocide, like they're playing games where they tell them, come here for food. And when they come there for food, they start picking them off and shoot them and kill them. But they're filming it. So if you get on the channels to see the stuff, it's so horrific. I'm trying to think. It will remind you, we've seen the lynchings of our ancestors, right? Without sanctuary. Imagine taking without sanctuary and actually seeing it while it's happening, while they're lynching somebody. But not just the one person in the picture, the whole book at the same time on the same day.
We looked in the past, 1972. I was born in 1973. I'm almost 50 years old. I'll be 50 in December. A year before I got here, they must have known I was coming. They said, let's get this thing out here now before you get here. They did what's called the Gay Rights Platform of 1972. This is just official document, sharing information. If you read, go look it up online for yourself. They're making it difficult to find. I don't know if people have been noticing this, but things that you used to easily go and put it on the internet and find them, you can't find this stuff no more. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff you can't find. But I'm gonna bring your attention to just one. It's a bunch of stuff, all of it's aimed at children. Sex education for children, adoption, gay adoption of children. But there's one that's most important for what we're talking about today. And they break it down from the federal level and the state level. On the state level, they say every single state, they want laws repealing all laws governing the age of sexual consent. I'm gonna say that again. They want the repeal of all laws governing the age of sexual consent, meaning a newborn baby. They want it to be legal to have sexual contact with a newborn baby. What year did I say? 1972. That's 51 years ago. Fast forward 21 years from then to 1993. In the interest of producing that result, they had right downtown, 30 minutes, not even 30 minutes if there's no traffic, go right up here, East Capitol, go all the way up the road, you run right into it. They had the 1993 Gay Rights March on Washington. Let's see what that was about.
Check one.
Did y'all hear what they just said? Do I need to play that again? He said he don't play it again. He said no, thank you. All right, I want to do this again. They said we're young, we're queer. We're going to do what? We're going to rule the world. Now remember, 21 years before that, what did they say that they wanted for children? Repeal all laws governing the age of sexual consent. They want to have sex with children and make it totally legalized. 21 years after they said that, they said we're young, we're queer, we're going to rule the world. That was in 93. This is 30 years after that. So they've had 30 years to say we're queer, we're going to rule the world, which at that point they said we haven't gotten to the point where we rule the world, because if they did, they wouldn't be saying that. They would say we're young, we're queer, and we rule the world. They didn't say that. We're young, we're queer, we're going to rule the world and have it our way.
Something that's not talked about enough. Everybody needs to get a copy. We have them out here today. Get your packet. His name is J. Bart Klassen, MD, medical doctor. He worked directly with Anthony Fauci in '88, as far back as 1988. Thank you. And what he talks about, the title of his article, a peer-reviewed article, COVID-19 and illegal bioweapons activity and insiders' revelations. What does J. Bart Klassen say? I'll just read this one line here. Israel never signed the 1972 Biological and Toxin Weapons Convention, and the author provides evidence to indicate the Mossad, which is the Israeli CIA, using U.S. human and material assets in running a large genocidal bioweapons attack on the world. He has a peer-reviewed study where he shows the information as an insider working there that this whole pandemic was orchestrated by Jews as a massive culling and killing and murder of people on this planet.
All right, brothers and sisters, let me just say this real quick. First of all, before they, Brother Vincent, I haven't seen a brother in a while. Brother Vincent bought, if I'm not mistaken, he bought the lost tapes. And I want to thank him for that. I also want to thank him for this amazing $25 super chat. Says, appreciate all you do, brother Black Belt. Appreciate you, brother. I'm glad you're here. To hear this information. And let me just say, spread this to whoever you think needs to know. Don't even spread it to people who appreciate it. Spread it to whoever needs to know. A lot of our people just don't know what's going on. We also have the $2 super chat from Brothers in Arms. Thank you, brother. And the super sticker from Brother You Got Ripped Off. And I'm going to just say this. If you get a chance right now, hold up. Where's my bad? Where is my banner? If you get a chance to get the lost tapes, and there's a brother who I'm talking to on Instagram, and I wish I had him. I don't think I sent him the link. So I'm going to send him the link later. If you get a chance to get the lost tapes, whether you get one or you get the set, of course, I'm going to recommend the set. Why not? Right? I'm just going to say this. The information that we put out there is information that's relevant now, but we talked about it 2, 3, 4 years ago. Just like if you watch this show, we talked about different things 2, 3, 4 years ago. Shoot me an email, straightblackpride_DC, protonmail.com. You can't go wrong. That's all I'm going to say. You're going to know more than what people know now. You're going to get more in-depth information than what we give here, and more straight talk, because there's certain things that we generally cannot say. You know, although y'all know I'm pushing the envelope. You know what I'm saying? Thank you, brother. Brother says, my brother out here putting in the work at the ground level. Hey, man, somebody has to tell black people what's going on. I've kind of been nominated by the ancestors. By the way, if y'all haven't had a chance, I have put out some information with Brother Jenny. He actually just did a interview in South Africa that is going, it's on a channel. I believe the channel is called Moya, M-O-Y-A. Check that out. I will put some clips up probably sometime this week. So some clips of that will go up. And of course, the information on the African, the bill, the quote unquote African health bill, that's been put up. And so just go through the section of the channel that says featuring Irritated Jenny, and you can catch up with that. Also, Monday on Sankofa Revolutionary Radio, Brother Jenny will be speaking on that health bill as in regards to Burkina Faso. So that health bill, of course, comes from the U.S. of Israel, which means Africa is now under attack from Israel, as is Iran. I'm trying to put these things before you all so you can understand. These attacks are coordinated and happening all over at the same time. So Africa is coming under attack through quote unquote health and medicine. Physical, actual war is being waged against Iran. Economic attacks are going on between the U.S. and China. And then, of course, NATO, which is nothing but the United States of Israel, is attacking Russia through Ukraine. And allegedly, there's a CIA operation happening in Mexico right now. So everything you see, because again, the CIA and Mossad are at this point literally the same thing, right? So everywhere you look, and of course we have in Argentina, there's allegedly Jewish people burning down large swaths of land. I haven't even covered that. So what I think I'm going to do, at least for this week, I think what I'm going to do is I think the shows are going to, I think they're just going to, I'm going to call it Radical Reports, and I'm just going to come on for maybe an hour and cover one topic per day. I think that's what I'm going to do, just so I can try to catch up with the news, because y'all have been sending me so much stuff, and I've seen stuff around, and so much stuff to cover that I can't cover it all within one show, especially with what is going on here. I don't have a Facebook page, brother. I have Instagram, as you see it going across, DC.radical1, Twitter, DC Radical _ONE. OTW2 is at DC Radical1. And my Threads page is DC.radical1, just like the Instagram. And of course, you want to email me, you can email me at straightblackpride_DC@protonmail.com. You can also donate via Zelle with that email address, and you can donate via Cashapp. Cashapp comes directly to me. The super chats go through YouTube and get paid from that later, the next month, basically. So there was another article, let me see, that I wanted to before I get out of here. Okay, we still got plenty of time, but because Straits of Hormuz, so now we understand that. This one real quick. Watch out now. Says Iranian ballistic missile precision strikes and destroys missile defense radars in Bahrain and Qatar. So I actually did not see both. I only saw one. So let me read this real quick, because this has already happened. Say reports from multiple sources indicate the Iranian ballistic missile strike successfully targeted and destroyed air defense radars in Bahrain and Qatar, following the launch of U.S. and Israeli attacks on Iranian targets early in the day of February 28th. Bahrain is the permanent base of the U.S. Navy 5th Fleet. So this is what we saw in that video that I showed earlier. While Qatar in the 2010s emerged as the primary hub for the U.S. Armed Forces operations in the Middle East, the largest military facility in Qatar, Al Udeid Air Base, had previously been singled out for limited Iranian strikes on June 23, 2025, in response to a limited U.S. attack on Iranian nuclear facilities. Chinese satellite imagery in early February exposed the exact positions of an Army MIM-104 Patriot air defense system at the facility, before later confirming deployments of at least 16 KC-135 aerial refueling aircraft and a number of RC reconnaissance aircraft there. The aircraft were reportedly withdrawn to bases in Turkey. So let us review. The most important part of what they said there is that China gave the satellite imagery. I don't think I've talked about this part. China brought in a new targeting system that uses their satellites to help Iran target basically the region. So where they were using GPS before, and GPS basically could come under the control of the US government, so they could kind of blind Iran. Now they're using newer technology through the Chinese, which now allows them, to target Israel and America directly. And they went to target America's air defense system, which will blind America. So when they release their hypersonics, America will be totally naked and open to complete and utter obliteration, which is why America moved their aircraft. Now, Turkey has a choice to make. They can protect America and possibly come under attack, even though Israel said that once Iran is destroyed, the next target is Turkey. So Turkey has a choice to make. And Turkey's always been a weird place, because the reality about Turkey is this. psychologically, they're half European and half Asian. Psychologically, that means they're half white and half Muslim. Well, we got, in essence, a white versus Muslim war taking place. Who you with? That's what they're going to have to figure out, right? Because Israel has already put them on the chopping block, and they're not even finished doing what they're doing with Iran. Now, let's get back to this. Says the capabilities of air defense and counter against even I hate when they do this, limited Iranian missile attack has long been in question. Although U.S. defense officials initially praised the success of U.S. Army and Qatari Air Force MIM Patriot air defense systems in protecting Al Udeid Air Base were successful on June 23rd, it was later conceded by Pentagon sources that despite Iran had used less advanced Fatah 313 missiles to launch the attack, the systems were not fully successful. This admission was made following the release of satellite footage which appeared to show the destruction of radar housing, destruction of I don't know if that's supposed to be a random housing unit, the Modernization Enterprise Terminal Communication Suite. Okay, RADAM. That's probably an acronym, but whatever. Anyway, which had a value of approximately $15 million. Okay, I missed that. I didn't hear that last time. So they already have destroyed communications equipment last time when they claimed that they were successfully defending against that. After this was exposed by the footage, Pentagon Chief Spokesman Sean Parnell confirmed in mid-July one Iranian ballistic missile impacted Al Udeid Air Force Base, while the remainder of the missiles were intercepted. Okay. All right, so here's what we know. They're going to lie. Okay, just based on that, they're going to lie about, because we know Israel always tries to cover up the damage done in Israel. And I showed you all the videos and everything after that fight. Now, we know now that the U.S. is exposed because they couldn't defend against the old stuff. And Iran has already announced, which I think I said earlier, at least I hope I did, that they are going to shoot again the old stuff and then come back with the new stuff. So we're at the old stuff now. We're not at the hypersonics. We're not at the high level stuff that has the most range. None of that has been deployed as of yet. I'll basically tell you what they're doing because they're going to shoot the old stuff. The U.S. has to defend against the old stuff. Israel has to defend against the old stuff. America has a limited supply of interceptors. Here's what I just found out. If the interceptors do not come directly to and attack the warhead, then stuff will still be destroyed. So this is what I'm saying. The missile is coming towards the target, right? And the more advanced the missile is, the more that it can move in the air, right? That's what the hypersonics do. They travel at a high rate of speed, but they're also maneuverable. If the interceptor does not hit the main part, which is the warhead, it simply just means that it will still fall down and explode. It just will not hit the exact target. Well, if you happen to just be in the area, or the area is large enough with the equipment, it's destroyed, or people still get destroyed. You see what I'm saying? So I didn't know that they had such a small area that they had to hit in order to destroy these missiles. I had an inkling, but I didn't know. And then saw somebody break it down. And then I realized that's why so much destruction was in Israel, because they were not actually successful in shooting down they could claim that they shot it down, right? But they did not destroy it. So they shoot it down, the warhead falls, it detonates and blows up stuff anyway. And that's what took place in Israel, where they could claim that they successfully shot down the war or shot down the missile or defended that area, when in reality all types of stuff was getting blown up either way. Now, brother, you got ripped off, put up that August 2025, Turkey took concrete steps to enforce the rupture by severing all economic ties and closing its airspace to Israeli government and commercial flights, effectively isolating the two nations. These measures, described as a wartime level rupture, were driven by Turkey's condemnation of Israel's actions in Gaza. Oh, here's the thing. They're still connected to the U.S. because they have U.S. bases there. And brother said Iron Dome still hasn't been prepared. Yeah, the Iron Dome hasn't been prepared because they don't have, the United States simply does not have the necessary capability of replacing the equipment needed for the Iron Dome to be successful, which is why they have been, this attack hasn't taken place earlier. That's one of the reasons. What they're hoping is that the U.S. will be able to fly in, bomb the sites where that Iraq is firing their missiles from, and then be able to come back, because they think that they thought that Iran wouldn't be able to defend against American air power. Where we're at with that is that China has given new radar systems, targeting systems, and air defense systems to Iran to keep that from taking place. So here's where that would put us. If the U.S. is successful in taking out that new radar in that system, then they can have air superiority over Iran. If they cannot do that, then what takes place is American ships start getting sunk, American planes start getting shot down, and Israel just gets decimated. Then the only next step to that is that America has to send in actual troops, which case more than likely Pakistan, China, and other countries will get involved, and we got a full scale on open knockdown warfare that America can never recover from. So there's room here to maneuver away from that for the United States. The question is whether or not Israel will allow them that, but it's all going to come down. We'll see it within maybe 2 weeks. If America cannot establish air superiority over Iran, and I know Iran has Chinese jets. If Iran had, I don't know if they had the pilots who have the technical skills to fly those jets, but if Iran flies those Chinese jets from Iran and bombs Israel and the United States with those Chinese jets, America is in complete trouble. Like, in a way that it'll turn the tables in a way that nobody will even comprehend. So what we're going to be looking at the next few days is the establishment of air superiority, and also whether or not the missile defense can hold up against Iranian missiles, which in reality it can't. It's just a matter of time. And it's a matter of, can they destroy Iran's capability to fire the missile? Because they can't defend against it, so they have to try to destroy their capability. If America can't do that, the bases are going to be destroyed in the area, and Israel is going to be in a world of hurt. I mean, that's just where it is. So let me see, get to the next. Hold up. You know what? Let me do this real quick. I know I'm running a lot of commercials, but let me run one more set of commercials, and then we'll close out the last half hour.
My name is Elijah Lewis. I'm author, motivational speaker. I'm coming to you from the DMV Showcase. Just wanted to take a quick moment to tell you about my book, Your Jewels in Your Journey. This book is all about giving us the tools we need to be our optimal self. What I tell people is that we're all on a journey, and on the journey we learn that life lessons are jewels, but it's also the people that we connect with that inspire us to be better that are jewels. And more importantly, we find out that at the end of the day, you yourself are a jewel. If you don't know who you are, it's hard to know where you're going. But more importantly, it's all about also teaching other people how to do the same once you feel inspired yourself. So if you want to learn more about me and my book, you can go to my website, www.elijahlewis.org. You can check out my book, Book Me for Motivational Speaking. I speak on topics such as freedom from life's addictions, the reality of your vision, and many other things. And also to let you know that during the holiday season, what we're doing is that when you purchase a copy of your Jewels in Your Journey, 22% of that goes to a veteran that's battling PTSD. So we definitely want to get back to our veterans, especially those who are battling mental health issues. Mental health is very important. So it's always a nice way to give back to those who are less fortunate and who have given to us. So just let you know that this is going toward a worthy cause as well. And speaking of that, I'll take a quick moment to read from one of my book, a chapter from my book rather. This is going to come from chapter 7, which is always give back and help others. When you make it to being your optimal self, you should think about who is coming behind you. Effective leaders don't necessarily have followers, but they're building leaders to come behind them. For this reason, it is important to always give back and help others. By doing this, you're helping the next generation be able to get to their optimal self with the lessons and opportunities you have been given. If you have been given a gift, then you should be able to share that gift with the world. It goes back to when I said you should have a great role model. Well, sometimes you need to be a good role model as well, and that starts by giving back and helping others. So definitely, if you feel inspired, check me out again on my website. Definitely, if you're in the DMV area, I always do pop-up events like this. So shout out to Dr. Chi-Chi. She's hosting the DMV vendor showcase. So definitely come check us out. We'd love to meet you, see how we can help you out. And at the end of the day, continue to be the jewels that you are, and maybe find many jewels on your.
Lewis. I'm a licensed insurance agent. I'm an independent agent, and I represent a plethora of different insurance carriers, and I offer a variety of insurance products and insurance services, including automobile, motorcycle, boat, general contractors insurance, long-term care, life insurance, motorcycle. Are you a landlord, have rental property? I work with Foremost Insurance to offer landlord insurance, renter's insurance through Progressive Insurance, as you see, which is one of many carriers I represent. Do you need to protect your business vehicle or your truck? Do you have a golf cart? I work with Universal Property and Casualty for your homeowners and property insurance, Pacific Specialty. Does someone in your home or business need someone who speaks Spanish in insurance carrier? I have carriers who do that. I'm also a licensed mortgage loan officer in the state of Maryland. I'm looking to expand to 4 to 5 other states in this coming year. And I offer a book to my potential clients on how to get the best mortgages. And a second book I offer to licensed realtors to help their clients prepare for the mortgage lending process. Do your clients or your clients need an estate planning program? We have an estate planning software program which I market and assist you with. And again, many carriers I work with in 16 states from New York down to Florida, over to Ohio, Michigan, Arkansas, Texas, and Colorado. North Carolina, South Carolina, Maryland, Virginia, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, Alabama, and other states. If you need insurance, give me a call at 443-622-0561. My web address is www.lewisfinancialgroup.net. You can reach me Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. until 6 p.m. And I'm also available on Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. I look forward to serving you with all of your insurance needs. Give me a call whenever you're available. Thanks you again. Peace and blessings.
All right, brothers and sisters, let me get ready to close this up. What I want to do is show you all some of the footage that is ongoing as we speak. I believe this is live, and I don't think y'all be able to hear it, but you'll just be able to see the different attacks that are going on. Right? And plus, you're not missing nothing sound wise because they're speaking Arabic. Unless, of course, you speak Arabic. But this is what's going on right now as we speak. This is over, I believe this is over Tel Aviv. These are the missiles that are being launched against Israel by Iran. I'm not sure about the current time right now, but from what I see here, it doesn't look like anything is being intercepted. Let's see if we see something that blows up before it hits the ground. Those are not party favors. Those are not fireworks. Those are missiles incoming. So this is what Israel has started. I'm still waiting to see if something gets intercepted because I haven't watched this. I'm like you. This is live, and I want to see how long Israel can withstand this. You know, like how, because this is what they started. This is what they wanted. They wanted war. They wanted conflict. They wanted to try to destroy this nation, and so we're going to see. Right? The unfortunate part for Palestinians, okay, this is in Jordan, so there's another country that's been backing up Israel and the U.S. This is Israel. We see a building destroyed here. All right. So there has been stuff destroyed in Iran, but as we see, they're not going down without a fight. They're not going out like suckers, and other people are going to suffer the consequences. People are going to be destroyed. And we see more missiles, and I'm gonna tell you right now, Iran is not playing. They are going to empty the clip in this war, and basically they said if they go down, Israel's going down with them. So that's just to give you a taste of what's going on. I believe this one says, this is the latest information. It says Netanyahu says growing signs Iran's Supreme Leader Khamenei is quote unquote gone. Now it says that we have not heard from Khamenei today. Did they just kind of move my stuff out the window? I was trying to read that there. All right, here we go. It says Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has just said that there's growing signs that Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei is gone. It's not clear exactly what he means. BBC verifies obtained satellite imagery taken over Tehran this morning, which showed significant damage to parts of the compound of leadership house, Khamenei's office in the Iranian capital. We have not heard from the Supreme Leader today, and there's no confirmation yet that he's dead or alive. The closest we've heard is from him. The closest we heard from him, it was during an NBC News interview with Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi, who said the leader was alive as far as he was aware. Let me address this real quick. I would not be surprised if the reason that we haven't heard from Ali Khamenei, the supreme leader, is because he does not to give them intel on where he is. So I think what's happening is this is a taunt from Israel so that they can get intel on where Khamenei is, and then they can target him there. He's probably being taken to a different facility so that probably later he will speak to assure the people. If that's not the case, then a new leader is probably being selected. And I'm gonna be completely honest. Any new leader that they select is going to be more militant than Khamenei. Yes, it is what it is. What could very much happen, and I'm not sure if this is something that the U.S. and Israel want, or I don't know. The military faction who are more militant, and they're not restrained by religion. They're not restrained by the interpretations of Islam of the supreme leader and the council of mullahs, as they call it. If that military faction takes over and they're not restrained by those doctrines, then you will see the pursuit of a nuclear weapon at all costs. What's actually has been restraining Iran from pursuing a nuclear weapon is interpretations of Sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, meaning that there's been certain there's actually what's the word I'm looking for? There's an outline of laws, rules, and regulations on how war should be waged in Islam, which could be interpreted as prohibiting a nuclear weapon because of what a nuclear weapon does to the environment and the land and the water and the air. So because of that, that has been interpreted as a prohibition on nuclear weapons based upon that prohibition from, I believe it's in the Quran and Sunnah, if I'm not mistaken. So, but if the military wing takes over, they don't care about none of that. They, respectfully, what I'm saying? No disrespect to the Prophet, the Quran, and Sunnah. The military people are like, we are going to pursue military aims, and the way to defend our nation is to be as strong militarily as possible, which means nuclear weapons. That's all it means, right? As much jibber jabber as the U.S. used to say about North Korea, you don't see no actual smoke against North Korea by the U.S. Why? Because nuclear weapons. As much talk back and forth about Russia has been going on my entire life and longer than I've been alive. But Russia, and before that, the Soviet Union, because I'm old enough to remember the Soviet Union existed. They've been talking. There's been no smoke because why? Because they had the most nuclear weapons on Earth. As much as Mr. Trump talks about China and this and that and China and how bad they are and blah, 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 there's no actual smoke for China. Why? Because I believe they have the third most nuclear weapons on Earth and the largest standing army. So what does that tell us? Here's what it tells us, Black people worldwide. If we want to get respect, if we want to be defended, if we want to not face racism and colonialism and being killed and this and that, the quickest way to that is for an African nation to get nuclear technology. Now, those of you all who have listened to me for years know that you can't have a nuclear weapon currently on the continent of Africa because of the Treaty of Pelindaba, which prohibited such, in which I believe at the time there are 52 signatories to that treaty. Right? So there's good and bad with that. The good is those countries will not be subject to being attacked by nuclear weapons because of that treaty. It also means that they're unarmed against any other type of military attack because of that treaty. That's what the African nations have to weigh in the balance. Whether or not it's safer to depend on in essence, the goodwill of the United States and be under the radar and of course, not just the United States, but the United States and Israel, because Israel is currently invading Africa through Kenya, South Africa, and I believe there's a third country, but that's a whole nother discussion for another day. So depend on the goodwill or depend on the fact that they're distracted, or defend yourselves with modern weapons. That's where it is for Black people on earth. And I'm gonna say this to the FBA people. The quickest way to get reparations is for there to be nuclear armed superpower in Africa, period, end of discussion. This is the time that we're in. And y'all give me one, y'all can hear me because the chat has stopped moving. So I want to make sure I'm not talking to myself or I haven't been cut off, because you never know. Here's the reality of the situation for Black people and the situation of the world right now. Anybody who is militarily weak is on the table to be destroyed. Period. Anybody who is disorganized or doesn't understand who the problem is and who has declared global war is going to be destroyed. It doesn't matter if you're Arab, Asian, African, American, any combination thereof, Australian, whatever. As I said before, and this is a quote from, I believe it's a quote from, what's the brother's name? What's the brother that played the Emperor Jones way back in the day? Paul Robeson. The battlefield is everywhere, including in the veins of some people. The battlefield is there. And if those who know, and those who don't are going to look at me like, what are you talking about? The battlefield is in your refrigerator. The battlefield is in your medicine. The battlefield is in your veins. The battlefield is in your mind. And so, knowing that, an unarmed, unprepared, disorganized people depending on their enemy to protect them from their enemy are indeed a laughingstock to the world. And I'm just keeping it 100. I would like to be wrong. The fact that we're here talking about this subject, even though I told us a week ago that we would be here talking about this subject, means that I'm probably going to be right about a lot more stuff than I would be wrong about. We're not in the time of trying to love our enemy. We are in the time of global nationalism, because the enemy has decided to attack everyone in the name of their religious / ethnic nationalism, even though that nationalism is based on mythology, fallacy, and lies. But what they're doing is everything they can to keep any other group from uniting. Think about this, and then I will close it out. Why isn't Europe and Russia united together? Why isn't Ukraine and Russia fighting? They're literally cousins. They're both Slavic people. Is the reason why Putin has been restrained in his war because they're fighting their cousins. Why is the U.S. and Russia fighting when Russia has helped the U.S. before by keeping other countries being involved in the civil war? Russia literally helped save America. Because, why? The answer is because there are forces that don't want them to unite. That would be global white nationalism. And so you literally have the white world divided in half. Why don't you have black people working together around the world? Because it was part of the doctrine of the foreign policy of the United States in the 70s to keep the unification of black people in America from black people in Africa. Right? And of course, we know about the whole colonialism period and the breakup of Africa into different nations, and then those nations actually overlapping different kingdoms, so that you got people, literally kingdoms that are divided by nations. But so you have family that are divided, and then you cause strife amongst them. Right? Brother, you got ripped off says Bolsheviks destroyed the entire Eastern Bloc and have them fighting against each other. These are facts. So therefore, you don't have black people in Africa able to unite, fighting amongst each other. And then we look at them and say, oh, they can't get along, so we can't get along with them. But we can't get along with each other because we're too busy calling ourselves the N-word. And every time I come on social media, black men are arguing and fighting against black women. And then each of them saying that they're going to date outside their race, which of course destroys nationalism, because all you do is produce a confused individual and thus destroy yourselves genetically, psychologically, and economically. Who pushes integration? We know white people, y'all complain about racism every day. Y'all send me stuff talking about racism every day. Y'all send me stuff where black people getting called the N-word, black people getting locked up, black people getting beat up, black people getting shot, black people getting hung. While still, and yet, some of you all believe in integration with all this stuff going on. So what you want me to do? You advocate and loving the people that you're telling me are destroying us. What you want me to do with that? The entire straight Black Pride movement, we set up in order for black people to be able to come together and unite amongst themselves, those who were willing to simply not support homosexuality and degeneracy. And what happened? Some people joined on, but many of our people refused to join on because they want to support Obama. Or they don't like us because we're Christian. Or they don't like us because we're against homosexuality. Or some of them don't like us because we're against pedophilia. Yeah, I said it. Some of them don't like us simply because they want to be N-worders. And some people are closet homosexual, or some people are open homosexual. So now look at our community compared to 2015, 2016, 2017. What the Bible says, my people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. Some people don't like us because we're not Christian or Hebrew or Muslim. But there's nothing that says said at the time that you couldn't join straight Black Pride because of any of that, because we didn't care about none of that. Some people don't like us because you say we're African and they not know African, because some of them are Indian. Okay, whatever. I don't really care about that. But in reality, you don't like us because we don't love our enemies. That's what's really going on. A lot of our people are cowards. A lot of our people are brainwashed. A lot of our people love our enemies, even while they're claiming they're conscious. Just straight like that. That's really the real. Here's what I learned recently within the last 6 years. Black people's fear and love of Europeans is the equivalent of Europeans' fear and love of the Zionists. They're in the same spiritual, psycho-spiritual condition that we are in, and that's why America is currently on the road to being destroyed. The same mentality works against them that works against us. But we're so scared and brainwashed to worship them so much that we can't even see they're in the same state, which is why America's fighting a war that doesn't benefit them, and where Trump already admitted Americans will be killed. He's willing to sacrifice your sons and daughters on the altar of Zionism, while the Zionists are worshiping Baal and doing all types of satanic, demonic stuff, as exposed or really reinforced in the Epstein files. So this is where we are, brothers and sisters. Another battle in the global war for, basically, the Zionists versus everybody. So with that, brothers and sisters, I'm going to get ready to close out. I'm going to say this. Again, you can follow me on Instagram at dc.radical1, on Twitter at dc_radical_ONE, on Threads at dc.radical1. If you have found value in this, you can donate via Cashapp, $ DC Radical 1, or you can donate via Zelle at straightblackpride_DC at protonmail.com, or you can send me an email if you're interested in purchasing the Lost Tapes or purchasing the Dr. Khaled lecture series. And this week I'll be putting out or releasing for everybody the Dr. Welsing lecture series, and then the total lecture series of all the stuff I've done over the last, I guess, 7 years or so. All of it is relevant and pertinent, cover everything from we cover Zionism, we cover feminism, we cover COVID, we cover nationalism, cover a lot of stuff, right? So, brother says, brother, you got ripped off, says, what is next week's program? You know what, brother? We will probably update the war, because this is going to still be going on, and I don't have I'm trying to think. I don't really have a feel for where this will be as of yet. And so I don't really want to say, we're going to definitely talk about XYZ, ABC. I'm going to let y'all know, because I'm going to come on one day during the week. So I don't want to hem myself in on exactly what we're going to be talking about. But you'll see the thumbnail. But I'm going to come on one day during the week, during the day around noonish, 1ish, basically experimenting with daytime to see what type of audience we get. So thank you for asking that question, brother. I don't have the same clarity this week that I had last week. So with that, brothers and sisters, I thank you all for listening. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I will be putting up clips of this during the week for those who weren't able to come here and watch the whole program. so you can get the vital information. Again, follow me on all my other social media. And who knows, I may do a live stream while I'm walking around the city on Instagram. That's possible. It's warm today. Depends on how I feel. Depends on what's going on. I thank you all for your support today. Thank you all who have bought the lost tapes, and people have sent me emails and just given me encouragement. Also, lastly, let me say this, because I almost forgot. I'm going sometime, that's next month, sometime in March, and next month is tomorrow. I'm going to do another show where I want to have a panel of sisters and we have a discussion. So brothers, shoot me an email for any questions that you want me to ask the sisters. And sisters have asked me to have a panel of brothers on for a Straight Back Love show, SBL talk show. So any brothers that want to volunteer to be on that panel, shoot me an email or a DM on Instagram, or shoot me an email at straightblackpride_DC@protonmail.com. I do not know the exact day. I will let you all know that in the future. It depends on, and that show will be a Saturday evening, so I won't do a center on that day. I just know it's going to be on Saturday sometime in the next month. We'll do the show with the sisters. So, any sisters out there that want to appear on that panel, I have heard from Sister Najee that she would mind appearing on it. So, she'll be one, I guess. And we'll let you know. Brother, you got ripped off says the rescue program needs to be followed up with a panel. The rescue program may actually be the panel, brother. I don't know yet. So I'm just putting that out there. And I will put the information out on Instagram, and I'll see. Basically, when I'll do the show is basically going to depend on how many sisters volunteer to do the show. And so I'll put the parameters up, and I'll put the poll up on YouTube and post it on Instagram and all that. And we'll take that from there. So with that, brothers and sisters, thank you all for listening. Like I said, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. If you have a few shekels that you can pass over via via Cashapp, I greatly appreciate it. I will see you all live one day this week. I'm not sure which day, but I will try to tell you all one day in advance. How about that? Again, I am your host, DC Radical One. Follow me on Instagram at DC.Radical1, on Twitter at DC_Radical_ONE, OTW2 at DC Radical One, which is a Black-owned platform. You can donate via Cash App, $DC Radical One, at Zelle at straightblackpride_DC@protonmail.com, and you can also email me at the same place. With that, I say Abibi Fodier and Straight Black Pride.
Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also follow us on our other social media platforms. On Instagram, we're at DC.Radical1. On Twitter, we're at DC_Radical_ONE. And the Cash App is $DC Radical One. Again, thank you for subscribing. Abibi Fodier and Straight Black Pride.